just going to run through quickly how I get the wax, or get these ready now to put in the spinner. This is probably fairly innovative, and I'm probably going to get some flack for this method, but if you think about the physics of how it works, it isn't that bad. And I have, well, as the weatherman predicted, it has rained today, Saturday the 19th of July. So I thought I'd quickly run through, because there are no bees flying, how I decap or get the wax cappings off honey frames that we took out of apiary 1 yesterday. There are quite a few boxes to do. Probably going to get some flack for this, but it's an innovative method. I think I've used it all the time I've been beekeeping, never had any complaints. Won competitions for taste and aroma and never had any complaints about that. And if you think about the physics of it, it does actually work and it makes sense, and I find it a lot easier and quicker this way. The traditional method is to get a knife and you just cut all this lot off, and then you get all these wax cappings with honey and everything all dropping into a pan, and then you've got to separate them, get the wax bits out and filter it, and what an absolute nightmare that is. So this is just a standard hot air gun from a DIY station. Got 3 settings, 0, 0, 1, 2, 3. I only go on number 2, and I know a lot of people are going to think, what the hell is he going to do with that? Well, I'm going to just melt the caps off, and then I'll go through the physics a bit of it. So just watch this for a second. That's on number 2. You can see my hand in front of it. Have to wait for it to burn hot. I'll try and show you the distance. So you saw that against my hand and it didn't burn my hand. And so what happens is the heat of the hot air gun, if I can get this to focus, there, look, the energy of the heat gun goes into the wax and then it melts it. So you're not actually doing any damage to the honey underneath at all. I mean, there's a very slight chance you might do some damage to the very top of the cell, if you like, because the honey is right at the top of the cell here, which is why they've capped it, but it's below the top of the cell in these ones. And so, yeah, I've done it for years and years like that. Nobody's ever grizzled. I'll just show you the other side. In fairness, they've probably never seen it, but it is the easiest and quickest way to do it. You get a few splots of wax on the floor, but look, if you keep moving it, it doesn't burn you. It's like putting your hand through a flame on a cooker. See? So then you just go like this quickly. Sometimes you have to go back to get all of it, like that, and stop. That's it. So that one's ready to go in the spinner, which I'll show you in a minute. Okay, you get a couple of bits like that. Sometimes I just ping them with a, you know, pop them with a hive tool or something like that. And then they come out, but under pressure in the spinner they come out. Couple here. But yeah. There you go, that's one frame ready to go in the spinner. Maybe just go through a couple more. So you get the idea. Look, it's on number 2. Put it over your hand. Nothing. You do need to keep it moving though, otherwise if I just kept that in one place, obviously it's going to burn. and then very quickly obviously I'm trying to film this as well as do it. What it doesn't work on is what we call wet cappings, which is this. That area there is wet cappings. It won't melt them, and if you keep it on there too long it will damage the honey. So you do just have to, you do just have to do that and break all those manually. But I'm pretty sure you couldn't do this commercially. You'd have to use a knife machine or something. It just wouldn't work commercially. So yeah, there's another frame ready for the spinner. There's a couple here, look, you just have to burst them, and clearly if I'm not filming it's a lot quicker than this. Or you can get one of those fork rakes and just, you know, rake it like that, and that does the same thing. Okay. See how these are wet cappings, it's not working so well. So I'll have to get the fork out when I've done it. That doesn't, well. Well, the thermostat's kicked in now. So on these wet cappings, you just have to get one of these fork things really needle point sharp and just, oh, it's digging in my finger, in my hand, and that's that drop down there. So you just have to do that and get the rest of the caps off. I'll show you. That's all okay, so you can just do the little edge bits here. And that's that done. Clearly you want to keep your super off the floor, so this is 2 supers on a base plate there to keep it up off the floor, because it's a food product now. It's not the bees product, it's not my products, it's a food product going into the human food chain. But because I sell raw honey, it's basically, it is as it comes out of the frame. It goes into the spinner like that, goes through a filter, gauze filter, cold, not pressed or heated or anything, and then into the jar. So that's pretty much it. That's the one we did there's a short on one of the short videos where you clean the Varroa boards. The starlings use it as their bathing pool in the mornings now. And the robins and the sparrows. So yeah, that's what that's there. It's got a bit dirty now, but it's only used for them for bathing, so it doesn't really matter. I'll clean it out when we do the other Varroa boards. Right, so you can see that this is a 9-frame spinner, and it just spins round like that. Electric motor at the top. If you listen carefully, you can hear the honey dripping out already. Like very soft rain, you might be able to hear it. So yeah, we'll just put the lid on there and spin it round for a few minutes. Probably takes about 10 minutes, and the honey comes to the edge here, runs down the side, and then just comes out of that little drain plug there. You just unscrew this, lift that up, and it just drops out, and I'll show you that running through the filter, and then it goes into the jars after that. That's as much processing as happens to that. Right, here we go then. I want to put this on just so nothing ever comes out, but I'm just going to do that usual health and safety. You don't want to put your toupee in there and get it pulled off. Okay, so that's it. Leave that for about 5-10 minutes. I had to stop filming because it was wobbling too much, but I put those water bottles on top. That just stops it, because it's probably a little bit unbalanced. There's a few in there that's got more honey than others, so yeah, that's pretty much it. That just stops it wobbling. It's on number 1 setting, and then you just keep turning that dial up further and further, and that's it really. Right, so the honey's spun out onto the, it's gone that way against the side, and you can just see it at the bottom there. It's all slid down the side of the spinner down in the bottom. You can just see it there at the bottom. And if you come around here, I've put a little mark on there, so we're already half of a 30-pound bucket. So we're there. That's one 30-pound bucket, that's two 30-pound buckets, and that line there is the limit of where the bottom of this goes. That bit starts dragging in the honey at the bottom, so that's that limit. Okay, I'll just leave that there, so I've got to put some more in there now. Oh, and I also thought people will be saying, well, you know, you're not wearing gloves, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. Well, the other advantage of the hot air gun is that it sterilises everything as it goes backwards and forwards across the wax. It sterilises everything because it heat treats it. Just the wax part, not the honey. It's just melting the wax off the top. So you sterilise that, and I'm not touching any of the honey bit with my hands. I'm literally, as you see me pick up frames in the videos, I just pick it up by the corner. So I'm not actually touching anything. This is all sterilised, and yeah, once it's sterilised, and it's sealed up every time it's not in use. So yeah, in my view, you can be a little bit too precious. Obviously, if it's a commercial venture, then it's all different. But then they treat the honey when it's out. I don't treat the honey. It literally drains out of that tap through a gauze filter and into a jar. So anyway, right, so we've nearly got a large bucket full in here, and I'm a little bit concerned it's going to be a little bit too wet, and so I might have to put this in one bucket and then blend it in with other that's drier, but I'm not sure. So if you're a new beekeeper, you need to get yourself, or any beekeeper, you need one of these, almost an essential item. This is called a refractometer. You put a tiny little bit of honey on that little glass plate there, and then you flip that down and you look through this viewfinder in the light, and then it tells you what the water percentage is in that honey. So obviously I can't do that holding the camera and film, so I'll do it and see if I can poke the camera down the end of the thing so you can see it, but I'm guessing that's going to be 19-20%, which is a little bit too much water content. So I might have to spin out some other honey into that just to thicken it up a little bit. We'll see in a minute. I'll try it, but I don't think it's ever going to work. It's bang on 20%, but anyway, you look down there and you can see there's a scale down there. Oh yeah, you can just see. Oh, hello. Is it going to work? There you go. So it's literally, it's on, just on 20%. So yeah, that's too wet to store. So case in point there, really I should have tested that on the first little spin, because now I've got a whole bucket of too wet honey, which is not particularly clever. So now I think I'm going to get that out of the spinner, put it in a bucket, and then use it as feed. There's no way of doing it. You can't dry it once it's out. Once it's out of these frames, you can't dry it. Really, I should have put those in a room with a dehumidifier and dried it out. So it must have been new nectar or honey that the bees were processing that I've taken off. So then maybe there was a honey flow and I've I've shut them down too early, but that was from April 1 and they have still got a box on there. So yeah, but I can't mix that up with other honey, it's just too wet. I think I'll put it in a bucket and maybe dribble a little bit into other mixes if I've got some that are really, you know, like 17%, and just sort of move it up 1%. But it might just have to be wasted and go back as food now. Well, it's not wasted for them, but it's not honey production. So yeah, there's an argument. Always test your honey before you spin it. So there you go. It's just running straight out of there through a cone filter straight into a pot. Normally, if that wasn't too widdly, or it was, you know, it was 17%, that would then go from that bucket into a decanting plastic container, food grade. Obviously all this stuff has to be food grade, and it just goes straight into a jar. And that's the process of raw honey. It's literally out of the comb into the jar. But unfortunately I've messed up on that, so it's not quite a £30 bucket, so it's not a major error, but clearly I'd rather have not done that. But hey ho, all these years and you still forget to do it because you rush and think, oh, I'll just get that done while it's raining so the bees aren't flying. And yeah, you make a mess up of it, but hey ho. Right, so there's the honey in there, and then what I do is just put a little note on the lid so I know it's from April 1, 20%. When it was spun out, that's a taste rating 2.5 out of 5, and it's just bee food. So yeah, that's so I don't put that into jars or anything, but that's what I do. I just put a little note on every spin out that I do with the percentage, water percentage, the date I spun it, and a taste rating at the date I spun it, and then I taste it again just before I put it into jars, make sure that, you know, it's still as I thought it was. So I do ratings from just 1 to 5 basically, you know, depending on how good I think it is. And so that's it really. Okay.